Will,
Yes,
a
Bob.
lot of games don't work when they ship them.
Yeah.
Dead cuts. What games?
Pretty much any game you were looking forward to this Christmas.
Basically every game has something wrong with it.
Yeah, but like
Until they patch
the
it.
amount of stuff that's wrong with these games is like staggering. I just lost it. Little Big Planet 3. Several game breaking glitches such as it crashes. You fall through the world geometry. You don't respawn at all.
That can't happen.
Yeah.
That just can't happen.
Far Cry 4. If you're on the PC, it crashes. If you're on the PS3, there's game data corruption. Apparently across the board, pre-order code redemption doesn't work. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. There are problems with going prestige. Connectivity issues.
Problems going prestige, but it just doesn't happen.
I guess it just doesn't happen.
So when you get to that point, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Kind of like Destiny, that you're supposed to get like some sort of legendary armor when you do something.
Yeah.
Like I think when you do one of the strike missions, you're supposed to get legendary armor,
Yeah.
and they just weren't giving it to you. So you were doing these like crazy like hard missions, and at the end you got like almost nothing, and it was a bug in the game.
What else is there? Halo: The Master Chief Collection multiplayer just doesn't work.
In IGN's review, they said we can't recommend this game if you wanted to do any multiplayer.
Which
Which is like that's like its thing.
yeah, I mean, yeah, Halo has had a good single player campaign, but I mean, most if not everybody who plays Halo plays it for multiplayer.
Yeah.
And to have
Especially people who are our age going back and buying the Master Chief.
to have half of your game like not work, like that's just insane.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5, the PS3, PS4, Xbox One version, there were problems transferring your old multiplayer data over in the new systems, from the old systems to the new system.
Okay, well, that I could understand.
I don't even think we need to go into what's going on with Assassin's Creed Unity. Like,
Oh, yeah, that's just a mess.
that just
It's a
doesn't
broken
work.
game. I mean, they spent way too long trying to get the graphics looking good,
And everything else.
usually when a game's really buggy, it looks really good.
So, I mean, we've now hit a point where all these big budget AAA games have now come out for the holidays, all fighting for your hard-earned money, or your affection for a present under the tree or whatever, and they're not working. In some cases, they're not working well. In some cases, they're not working at all.
Yeah, like you get the game immediately, like launch day, because you want to play it, you want to go and play it, but then they're like, oh, you need to download a patch that's 2 gigabytes. Then you gotta wait for the patch, and then it still doesn't work. And then you gotta wait a week for them to fix. Like, remember last year, Battlefield?
Oh yeah,
We bought a PlayStation 4. We got Battlefield. Battlefield didn't work for 2 weeks.
and it's still like buggy as hell. Like after that, for months, the multiplayer wasn't working properly.
I think they finished it like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
They finally
Hey,
knocked out all
the thing you
all the
paid
dings.
$60 for plus whatever DLC you bought. You can finally play it properly.
But like it blew my mind that you literally could not. Like I bought that Battlefield to play 64 people on a server multiplayer, and you couldn't log in.
It's ridiculous. We've hit a point where, the release date is so much more important than anything else. I mean, not to be one of those people, but back in my day, when you buy a game, it worked.
Well, it had to.
It had to. And if it didn't, that was it. If it's not like today where if it didn't work, just patch it and whatever and it'll be fine. But like we have to stop accepting that.
Right.
Like we have to, especially like after this holiday season, like we have to stop, letting, unfinished games be the norm. Like just, that's it, just flat out.
I understand getting the product out on like a relative deadline, because in the like software and tech world, there's something called F*** It, Ship It.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Basically, set yourself a deadline, and whatever happens. Just make sure it's out there.
Yeah.
Because when you're ever working on anything, when we work on our videos, we have a deadline, so we need to meet that deadline. And I could work on a video or a painting or anything forever, and just keep tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. But when you have a hard deadline, you need to just put it out. So there are plenty of games that just haven't come out because they've been trying to make it perfect, and sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you just have to give up. But these days they're not really giving up. They're pushing it out there, and then still like trying to patch it.
Yeah, and then the whole fix it later. Meanwhile, the customers have just spent $60 on a game that isn't working properly.
Right.
And then they're doing things like, holding back reviews. They're embargoing review sites until the very last minute.
Sonic Boom.
Oh, I forgot Sonic Boom.
That's like ridiculous. Yeah. They had an embargo on reviews, so nobody could review the game. No, they didn't give out review copies at all.
Yeah.
Because they already
Which
knew
usually just means, like, we know the game sucks.
Yeah. So they didn't give out review copies. Then they embargoed reviews for, like, a really long time. Until, like,
I think it was, like, the day of release, I think.
Yeah. I heard a couple of days after, like 2 days after release, but I don't know if that's true. Definitely at least until release. Yeah.
But I know Assassin's Creed Unity, they embargoed everybody until noon the day of release. So everybody had already bought it, wasn't aware that the game is full of problems.
That's just ridiculous. In a case like that, like, why... Because the embargo happens when you are given the game really early for free.
Yeah.
Why would these websites even accept the game early like that? Why don't they just get it through a third party early, like a mom and pop store?
Well, some
shady website.
They do it to keep their relationship with the publishers and developers. I mean, they're willing to make those sacrifices to accept embargoes in order to keep their good standings with the people who make these games. But it's gotten to a point, especially with this Assassin's Creed Unity deal, that now sites like Kotaku and I think Polygon are reevaluating their stance on embargoes.
Really?
Yeah.
I know Kotaku a couple months ago put up an article saying they're redoing their whole review process.
Yeah.
They're not trying to review games early or the day they release. They're reviewing games like in the now. It's an ongoing thing where like reviews can change. Like if they have an up, like SimCity when that came out, didn't work.
Yeah.
Flat out didn't work at all. Had to wait like a couple months, and then all the review sites re-reviewed it because the updates. So
a lot of sites are doing that now. Like I think everybody has like a copy of Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, but nobody's played it. Nobody's posted their review yet because they haven't had a chance to play online. So they're just waiting for the service to go live, which I think it will be on launch day, so they can give it the final analysis, and then it'll be like a day or so after that.
Right.
So that's one thing, but like when a publisher actively tells a website, hey, don't post your review before this day because we know it sucks, and you're going to tell everybody it sucks.
Yeah, like, no, you can't do that.
That's shady shit.
This is also why we don't review games.
Well, aside from the fact that we only have like how many subscribers, no one really knows who we are.
Exactly. A lot of people always go, oh, so you review games on the internet? I don't review games. I just talk about them.
Yeah.
But I don't review games because I don't get them early. If I do, I don't have time to play it or anything, like I can't like put all my like there's plenty of other websites that will do that better.
Yeah.
Than this one. So I just stick to talking about games. I hope you guys like what I have to say about it.
Going back to the whole, all these games are, basically broken at launch. I mean, we've seen this start to happen, like especially last generation. Once the consoles were able to go online, patches became very prevalent. And there was always this fear that like, it was a fear in the PC gaming world where like, you know, the developer will ship a broken game and then just patch it until it works. And there was the fear that that would bleed into the console space.
And it did.
And that, yeah, now this holiday season, like, it looks like it most certainly did. Except if you're Nintendo, they seem to be the only people who have, you know, their act together.
I feel like Nintendo treats their software more like toys, which
Right.
is totally fine.
Yeah. You know, a toy has to work, you know, when somebody buys it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't really think of any game they've ever released that's been, you know, buggy or glitchy or, you know, not playable,
Right.
really. So.
Super Mario 64. Pretty buggy.
Right. But,
But it was very playable.
it worked, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between, you know, that kind of buggy
Right.
where, you know, you might be able to clip through a wall here or there, as opposed to Assassin's Creed Unity buggy where people's faces go missing.
Or any Sonic game after... any 3D Sonic game.
Yeah.
Period. By the way, I don't hate every 3D Sonic game.
Yeah, no.
I liked a couple.
Yeah.
I won't say which ones.
Um,
Final thoughts?
I think it might be finally time to start telling people to not buy games on release anymore.
There are so many games that I want right now
Yeah.
that I just haven't bought.
Yeah.
Partly because I'm waiting for some Black Friday deals, which there aren't any.
Yeah, so if you see a game you really want, don't buy it at launch. Wait like a month or two or three. No, like,
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, because
if you know you're gonna want to play it, like let's say a Call of Duty, because you know what you're getting with Call of Duty.
yeah.
Get it. But like, if it's something like, let's say, The Evil Within, we had no idea what we were getting into.
Yeah.
That you don't have to get that on
Yeah, no.
launch. Something like that.
Yeah.
If it's like a giant AAA title that you know exactly what you're getting, like a Halo or Call of Duty, go right ahead.
But then don't accept a broken game. You know, if your game is broken, tweet at the publisher and the developer like there's no tomorrow. Tweet at your favorite review sites like there's no tomorrow. Let the people know that, you know, something you bought with your money doesn't work. And review sites, if you're watching this, because I know you're not, don't stand for this. Like, you know, I think all review sites now should adopt Polygon's method of re-reviewing games down the road.
Right.
Because at this point, like, we kind of have to.
A lot. IGN does that.
IGN's
Kotaku
doing it
does
now.
that.
Kotaku's doing it. But more websites need to do that, and they need to make a bigger deal about it. Because, yeah, Polygon gave Halo Master Chief Collection a 9 when it first came out. Then, like, 2 days later, they dropped it down to an 8, and they said, you know, multiplayer just isn't working. We cannot, in good faith, give this a 9.
Right.
So,
They
and that's fair.
if they're gonna review it twice, they should review it hard the first time.
Yeah. So,
But I mean, I don't necessarily think patches are a bad thing
patches are not a bad thing. It's
when they abuse it.
Yeah, it's when publishers abuse patches, and the fact that they can give patches, that's the problem.
Right. It's also it's a very bad thing on like AAA titles.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? How do you like patches? Do you think that games are broken? What games have you played that are broken? What games have you just recently gotten that are broken?
What games have you got that are broken that have never been fixed?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. We'd like to know. Let us know down there or anywhere on the social media space.
Add us. We're on Instagram, blah, blah, blah.
On the Facebooks.
Thank you very much.
Have a good week. Like, share, subscribe.
Mao.
So let's begin with answering that debate. Which would I rather be? Batman or Superman? Now, the answer that was given on the bus with a lot of gusto, and what I'm sure all of you are thinking right now, is Batman, obviously.
Assassin's Creed 1 was a bad game. The climbing was awesome. The combat was awesome. The assassinations were awesome. All for its time. But it was incredibly repetitive, uninteresting, and the story was almost non-existent.